Hi guys, Marc at Sattui coming at you with this month's Wine of the Month Club recipe. And I couldn't help myself, driving in and out from work every day, passing these beautiful yellow mustard flowers, just dotting the valley with these gorgeous colors. But not only that, culinarily can be captured for its flavor as well. So kind of a little known fact, it is indeed the very same thing that makes us dry mustard powder. And there are a few different types of mustard seeds, but this would be the most common, the yellow or white mustard seed. And this is the strain that originally would come out of Europe, but the French have made something called Dijon mustard, famed for that region, where they're influencing using white wine, but not the yellow mustard seed, but the brown or black mustard seed. So that's gonna be really the star of the show today. And again, the inspiration, not only for this recipe, but for this wine. And this month's wine selection is a real beauty. This is our 2016 Quaglia Ancient Vine Zinfandel, and one of my personal favorites. And the thing that just this wine screams to me is elegant and balance. And those are two words I think typically no one is real daring enough to use for a Zinfandel. But today I'm gonna show you how to take a wine that I think is already a level 10 and take it to a level 12. So today's recipe is our mustard and herb crusted salmon. To begin, easy enough, just get your oven revved up to 425 and a cast iron skillet on a medium-high heat. And you're gonna add grapeseed oil to your pan. And grapeseed oil, I love to use for sauteing. Grapeseed oil has a very high smoke point. And smoke point is quite simply the point in which your oil begins to burn. And when oils burn and give off smoke, they give off flavors. So grapeseed oil, one of the best, and again, another natural treat here from the winemaking industry. So let's get started. Simply enough, we just need a small mixing bowl. We're gonna get some fresh lemon zest, and we're gonna use about a tablespoon. And I love these microplanes. Instead of just using, well, like your cheese grater, this is a tool that's designed only to take just that pure rind. It really just makes these very, very small and thin shavings. So no need to have to mince this up. Secondly, we're gonna get some fresh Italian parsley. We do wanna get rid of the majority of those bigger sized stems that are in here, and majority just leaf to this. I've found a real good technique is not so complicated, but to just squeeze it all into a tight ball in between your fingers and pinch it down to the board. Then you can just run your knife through it and get these nice small, what the French would call chiffonade, or a small ribbon cut. And once you've got your chiffonade, then we can simply just go through it once the other way to get our nice fine mince. And into our bowl. Next herb is going to be fresh thyme. And we're gonna need a couple of teaspoons of this with just a slight grip. And going with the leaves, you can strip the majority of that clean and free from the stems. And again, just sort of making a tight little ball in between our fingertips gives us something that's a little bit easier to mince. All of my ingredients have a purpose. Thyme in this recipe especially is going to bring out the brightness of the mustard. Now, next fresh herb is going to be chives. And again, this brings a little bit of sweetness, but again, some pizzazz, some spunk, some spice. And we're gonna do a small mince again on these. All right, now that the fresh herbs are taken care of, we can get to the garlic. And we're just going to snip off the root end. And with some pressure on the knife on its side, give it a quick little tap until you hear just a slight crunch. You can pick it up by the tail and just give it a few taps and it will fall right out. We're not even going to use the sharp part of the knife, but the backside of the knife, or what they call the tang, which has this nice sharp 90-degree angle. So by moving the clove of the garlic to the back where we can hang the knife off, we can really, it's grating the garlic using that 90-degree angle. And once you get this grating effect done, you can simply spin it 90 degrees, go through with the actual sharp part of the knife to get your absolute perfect mince. And of course into the bowl with all the other goodies. And now for just a little salt and pepper. We will be seasoning our salmon fillet as well. This is called panko breadcrumb, and panko comes from a dried Japanese rice bread, and it's crustless, so all you're really getting is that very light, airy texture that comes with. And our Sattui extra virgin olive oil, of course. Now, just take your fork. We want enough of that olive oil in there to hold these crust ingredients all together. Now, if you're blessed like me, and you happen to live here in wine country or anywhere else that might happen to have some wild mustard here popping up in the early spring, let's add some, because fresh mustard flowers also give off a little bit of spice, a little bit of kick. Beautiful. So, simple enough. Of course, again, the inspiration and star of the show is mustard. We're going to use a nice French Dijon mustard. And brush the top of your salmon fillets and do not be shy. Again, you know, this is not only going to help this crust stick, but the mustard really needs to be in the spotlight. And simple enough, we're going to take spoonfuls of our crust, and we want to have a nice layering of this crust. So again, do not be shy. Eating and a great culinary experience is actually about involving all of your senses. The colors in this dish are already pretty appeasing to the eye. So from here, we're going to move right into our cast iron skillet that we've had on that medium-high heat with the grapeseed oil. It's very important whenever you're cooking fish, it's always going to be skin side down, and we want to be able to render that fat and get that kind of potato chip crispy skin on the bottom. Just leave it alone. It will tell you when it's time to consider moving to the next step. So if you guys look closely now, just a few minutes into this, you're starting to see that golden brown caramelization just on that bottom side around the edges. So that tells you it's time to move into the oven. All right, guys, time to come out of the oven. Wow, look at how beautiful those are. So when first come out of the oven, in order to keep this salmon just beautiful and moist, we're gonna cover with some aluminum and just let this rest about 10 minutes. I promise you, this little extra step makes the most moist and tender salmon. All right, guys, now that our salmon's had time to rest, let's plate it. So off comes aluminum foil. Wow, look at those beauties. Let's paint a little swath of mustard across our plate here. And let's grab some fresh lemon wedges for the plate. The acids in the wine are affected by the acids in the foods. And the big deal that's going to happen, a lot of people would just think that that's going to make everything more acidic, but these things of which we call complement pairings really, because they become symbiotic and harmonious, very much tone each other down. So of course, we're also going to use some fresh mustard. And just a couple of chives on the side here. Just falls apart. Absolutely so tender because that crust has just held everything in. Oh my gosh, what it does to this wine. Just so plush, so rounded, so much more opulent than it was even on its own. So until next time, everybody, here's to spring and amazing Sattui wines. Cheers.